Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wet that eyeball. So you can correct your drawing whilst I go. And you could even paint along with me with this if you like, because it's not very complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'll just zoom in so you can see really well. I'm going to wet out to the inside circle, okay? Better? I have to turn the autofocus off. Otherwise, it'll focus on my hands and you won't be able to see what I'm painting. But there it is. It's focused better now for you. So you can see I've got an inside circle and an outside circle. So you should have that with some white in between. And then your little feathers are underneath. Okay, so I'm going to use a little brush. And I'm just going to wet the inside circle over the top of the masking, like so. And then I'm going to drop some, probably some raw sienna or goethite, maybe raw sienna in there. Goethite's slightly darker than brown than the raw sienna. Okay. That's what I'm going to do.
What have you done? Raw sienna.
Raw sienna. I've wet it. I've wet it to the outside ring. And it doesn't need to be a puddle. This is not a granulating piece. Okay. And so I'm just going to leave that now. And I'm going to come back to it in a couple of minutes when it's almost dry. So now we'll move.
Greens is staining my brush. Which one is it?
That's the phthalo turquoise doing that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the beak. And we're going to do the top part of the beak first. I'll try and leave my brush there, my paper there. So I'm going to pick up, I'm going to use a number 8 brush, and I'm going to carefully wet the beak. So our head is dry now. So I'm just leaving a tiny margin to the feathers that are shaggy onto the beak, and I'm just wetting the top. I'm going to turn it around so that I can do the tip. Now, beaks and eyes are the most important part of the kingfisher or any bird. Beaks and eyes on birds and noses and eyes on animals. They're the only kind of really detailed parts, and you need to have them accurate because every bird beak is a different shape. And if you look at this kingfisher beak, you'll see it's really straight on the top. And then it's got a straight line with a wee whoopsie at the end between the beaks. And then the lower beak's got a beautiful creamy sweep up it. You see that? So actually you can paint along with me for this. So wet your beaks really accurately.
Just the top of the beak?
Just the top half, down to the line.
Up to the feathers?
Up to the feathers, but leave a tiny gap to the feathers. Okay? Yep. Then I'm going to turn it upside down so that the line joining the beaks is away from me, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. And now I'm going to pick up some hematite, and I'm going to put my glasses on.
Can you bring it on screen?
Oh, sure. Why would you want it on screen? There we go. There we go. Can you see that okay? This is a nice, easy one to do. Now we want the top of the beak to be lighter than the bottom. So I could have said to you when you wet it, don't wet it quite to the top, but it's easy enough just to lift a light highlight off if we do wet it right to the edge, which I have done. Then I'm going to start, and I'm just going to, with some strong creamy pigment. So it's thick but not blobby. I'm just going to define that bottom line carefully. So I'm using the brush with pigment on to make that line perfect. Okay. Then I'm going to add some water, of course, on top of that, just to push it out. Because when you're pressing and defining a line with some pressure, you tend not to have enough water left on there. Then I'm just adding some water with a little brush to push it out, because we don't want this too dark. We don't want it black, the beak. And just take your time and let it spread out towards the top. I'm giving it a little tilt. Then I'm going to add some more hematite across that line. And I'm going to add some more water. And if you get a puddle, just wick it up. I'm painting flat at the moment. And just let it spread up. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of goethite and just drop a few bits in. So quite thick goethite, but not a big blob. Once it starts to granulate, and it's just for texture and colour. You see that? And then I add a little bit more goethite at the very bottom edge. Hematite. Hematite's some more dark at the very bottom edge. And you could add some sodalite if you wanted to. But I'm just adding goethite. Let's keep it simple. And just check the shape of your beak. And try and keep the top edge the lightest. And that's all. So then now we'll go back to the eye.
Did you put, sorry, can I go back again?
Yes.
And can you show me where you put in